Hi, hello, oh my god, this intro sucks so much. Welcome to another video. This is a bit different from the rest of my videos, because I'll be honest, I'm sick and tired of making tutorials all the time, so I figured, why not make something different and more enjoyable for myself and you watching this video. So in this video, I'm going to be rating random people's obbies. You heard me right. I've played this game pretty much ever since it released, and I've seen so much. Sometimes it's absolutely outstanding what people can make in this game. You have way more limited options in this game compared to Roblox Studio, but people still make the craziest things I've ever seen on Roblox. So enough of that background information, let's break down the video. The rules are simple. I go to a random server and search for a random obby that stands out and could have some potential. I'm not going to be reviewing obbies that just spam pre-made stuff or are extremely good because they will obviously get really freaking stupid scores.
In this video, I'm going to be ranking a total of 3 obbies. I'm going to be ranking each obby with my complete honest opinion in correlation to how good it is compared to other obbies in Obby Creator, as well as how good it is in my perspective. Now, I won't be criticizing these obbies like hell, because I'm not the kind of person to insult someone's creation and saying everything possible to make them feel ashamed of what they made. Instead, I'm going to be giving my best feedback and state what could be improved with the obby. This can also apply to you watching this video, and you could probably take my opinions into account with your obby, but just remember this is literally my opinion, and you can feel free to make anything in this game. It doesn't even have to be the most outstanding thing ever. Anyhow, let's get started. This obby is actually decent creative for this game's standards, although it's just another one of those escape type obbies. The theme is pretty creative. It's cool that you traverse a pretty dark cave and try to kill this monster like thing. I don't even know what to call it. The overall creativity for this obby is pretty nice. Gameplay though is a little too straightforward in my opinion. It's just a bunch of little jumps that are pretty repetitive, and also these dark kill breaks that really blend in with this room. So you're kind of forced to look around and see what the danger is, which is quite tedious. The room is also very weird as you can literally barely see anything in it. All the rocks really blend in well, and you can't really see where you have to go. So if it was made so you can at least see a little more in this room, points would be higher overall. Lastly, you'd be surprised, but the design is all around not the worst thing in this hobby, although it could have some big improvements. The lobby is fine and it doesn't really much, but there could be more nature on the grass, maybe some trees or like actual grass. In the corroded room, the atmosphere is a little too dark as I mentioned earlier, and could look way better if it possibly had like lights hanging from the ceiling. Maybe also some chains coming out of the ground. And the gray room can have some sort of factory theme by adding gears and whatnot. This obby seems like it has potential, and could most likely be an all-around decent map to play, but it could be way better if it's improved. Where do I even start with this obby? Oh right, the creativity. This obby basically follows the difficulty chart trend, and it's pretty unoriginal, although instead of it just being a basic color changing obby for the difficulties, these guys represented stages, and I found them so stupid in a funny way. It could have been better if the stage teleporters weren't in a straight line, as that's pretty basic. Maybe if all the Morbies were on floating islands, and the stages as well, could have made this stand out a little more. The gameplay is basic, although slightly more varied than the first obby, at least. Although the gameplay has moving parts and more ideas, it's pretty linear. There are little to no rotations of the objects, making the obby flow pretty lame. This could bore a player pretty fast because of a lack of variation. Maybe if there's a little more variation in the gameplay, this obby could be more engaging. The looks of this obby is pretty bland, like the first obby, and a bit lackluster. Much more could be added to make this obby look like you're going on a vast adventure, fighting off these little creatures. Seriously, if the difficulties were on islands, and the obby was polished a lot more, it would make this obby so much better. This obby has great potential. I'd love to play this later to see what was done. This obby is much more like it. Even though this obby is featured, I still want to rate it because it's a work in progress and has a few flaws that could be improved. First of all, this obby isn't really creative, but I like the general idea of it. It's another one of those Obby King style obbies, but I enjoyed the mechanics used. The buttons were a nice touch, and the progression of this obby is pretty well done and all around pretty creative. The gameplay is pretty well done for obby creator standards too, but I felt it a tiny bit jank, although it's just a little nitpick. The raw progression in this obby is questionable, and some noobs could possibly be confused and don't know where to head next, including me because I also suck at the game. Arrows could be a little more present in this obby to indicate where to go. This obby is pretty filled up with gameplay, and I enjoy that too, although the end isn't really filled up, but since this obby is work in progress, I won't take off points for that. The gameplay is overall done pretty well in this obby, and doesn't really need much improvements. The design is also very nicely done. I like the moving lines of acid throughout the whole obby. It added movement to the map and was a nice touch. All of the obstacles look pretty cool for obby creator standards, and the obby looks cool from afar. I'd say overall this obby was done quite well. Although not being the most detailed thing to exist, it still looks very visually appealing in a way, and gets my approval. Hopefully this project finishes strong. Well done. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope that these reviews and the cons stated in them gave you a little bit more of an idea of what to include and not include in your obby. Consider subscribing if you enjoy my videos, and comment what you'd like to see next. I'll see you around.